family is an immigrant family. My parents left the Netherlands in 1956. They had lived through 5 years of Nazi occupation. They actually were liberated by Canadian and American troops, and that was really their introduction to North America. 1956, it's 11 years after the war. Europe is still a pretty miserable place. My dad was gainfully employed at a little bakery, and life would have been okay for mom and dad, but what they thought was, they didn't see a whole lot of opportunity there for their kids. So, they're in their late 30s, they pack up a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 3-year-old, and they decide that they're going to head to America because of what they've heard, freedom, opportunity, and these types of things. And so we ended up in Michigan. They then had the opportunity to watch their kids go to college. They watched their son go to go through college, get an MBA, go to Herman Miller, and 35 years after coming to America, they both had the opportunity to see their son get sworn into Congress. So America is a pretty special place. And I think that's what we wanted. That's what we want for our kids. Make sure that America is as good for our kids as what it was for us. We're here and we're still in Michigan because we love Michigan. We think Michigan is a great state. I think the statistic is, one person or one family leaves Michigan every 12 minutes, and it's like, wow. We're here because we think it's a great state. I love Michigan, and I think it's very, very realistic to expect that Michigan can turn itself around. We've got tremendous resources, we've got tremendous assets, and those types of things. And I think the formula is relatively simple. For 7 years, we have seen what happens when government says, we're going to make it hard for you to do business, and we're going to make it expensive for you to do business in this state. And then we not only say that, but then we put policies in place that actually carry that strategy forward. And you know what? Even business people after a while will get the message that if you make it hard and expensive, we will leave and we will invest somewhere else. And that's what's happened for Michigan. So what's the alternative? The alternative is very simple. You embrace economic growth. You have a governor that says, as a state, as a bureaucracy, and as a legislature, we are going to develop the policies that send a signal to people in Michigan, most importantly to people in Michigan, and then once they get the message, other people will hear it as well, that as Michiganders, we are going to embrace economic growth. And then you start putting in place the policies that make that happen. I go all across the state and I hear all the stories about bureaucracies getting in the way of economic growth. At Gary Gonzalez's place today, I brought that up and he just kind of smiles and said, it's unbelievable how hard it is to do business and how difficult it is when people come in from the state. They really don't, they're not there to help us. So step number one is get the bureaucracy, very simply, to be an organization that sees as their mission to get to yes. That when someone wants to invest, I was up at an injection molder maybe it was last week, maybe last week Friday, here in Southeast, and he wanted to put in a truck well. Putting in a truck well is not brain surgery. It took him 6 months to get the permit. It took him 2.5 years to get the permit to put in the truck well. They gave him the permit in January, which is not exactly the ideal construction period. But you say, as bureaucrats, your job is to get to yes and to do it faster than any other state in the country. That when people want to invest and grow their business, we're going to do it very, very quickly. Come on in. The second thing is we need to design and develop a government that we can afford. Michigan is just too expensive and it's too bloated, and we can no longer afford the government that we have. I'm working 100 different jobs across the state. I've got 34 done, and just about every business that I've gone to has gone through dramatic downsizing, cost reductions, cutting employees, cutting employee pay and benefit, and a lot of them say, well, Pete, what are you going to do? How are you going to downsize government? kind of like, actually, we're going to take a look at what happened in business, and we're going to take a look at what you've done in your business and apply a lot of those same principles and apply them to the state government, because working for the state and state government should not be immune to what's going on in the economy. And working for the state should be a good job, but it shouldn't be the best job. You know, this year state employees will get 3% pay increases. I think there's still a lot of companies in Michigan that are not going to be giving their employees pay increases. They will continue to have people on layoff. They will continue to cut pay and benefits. So, you know, I think it's very possible to streamline government. The third thing that you have to do then is, and I think this is the most exciting thing, is we scrap the current tax code, starting with the Michigan business tax, and we then put in front of the voters of this state what the experts believe will be the most economic friendly, the most pro-growth tax structure in the country, and then let the people of Michigan decide whether they want to keep the current broken system or whether they're willing to take the risk and embrace a totally different type of a tax structure than what Michigan has experienced before, and that we move forward. You know, my objective would be to, you know, if we move quickly, we could have a proposal on the ballot by May for a new tax proposal, May of 2011. And I feel a certain sense of urgency. We've led the country long enough in unemployment that you know, you don't want to wait until August, you don't want to wait until November. You want to get this done and get it moving as quickly as possible. You do those three things, and I think you know, people will maybe be amazed by what can happen in Michigan, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's in manufacturing, whether it's in tourism, whether it's in defense, and those types of things. And I'm ready to be surprised that if we create a relatively level playing field, you know, what kind of industries may grow and excel in the state. You know, some of you have asked me a little bit about what about Detroit? You know, I'm encouraged by what Mayor Bing is doing. You cannot build a strong economy in a community if you've got waste, fraud, but most importantly, if you've got corruption. No business person wants to go and invest in a state or a community where they believe that there is outright corruption. So as a governor, I would fully support everything that Mayor Bing is trying to do to clean up the government and the politics in this community. And then I think the potential really does get to be endless, although it won't be easy. But you know, Southeast Michigan, Detroit, we are the gateway for the Midwest into Canada. We are the gateway for Canada into the Midwest. With Detroit Metro, it is one of the best airports in the world, provides the gateway from the Midwest into Asia and into Europe. So there's no reason why, you know, we can't be a transportation hub for North America and for the Midwest, connecting us to Canada, but also connecting us to the rest of the world. I'm glad she is so excited by what I am saying. She has been my most vocal supporter in my whole campaign.
She could work for you in a few years.
What's that?
You could put her on your board in a few years.
That's right, yeah. You know, what about the automobile industry? You don't want the government and you don't want the governor running the automobile industry. But what the governor needs to do is send a clear signal to Ford, to Chrysler, and to GM that says, we want you to be in Michigan. And we are going to make this a great place for you to do business, and we want to do everything we can to continue the great relationship that Michigan has had with the automobile industry. For the folks that have been downsized out of the automobile industry, with my connections on the Intelligence Committee and National Security, there is no reason why we can't build a defense corridor through Southeast Michigan. Right. Those skills are directly transferable the skills that have been downsized are directly transferable into the defense industry. You know, and you can go on and on about the possibilities. We've got higher ed and those types of things. Higher ed, we've got a medical corridor. So there are lots of things that we can be doing in Southeast Michigan that open up the door for opportunity so that we can get back to having a healthy Detroit. But you know,